Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Den. I'm Daniel, and in today's episode, I'm talking about Bubba Wallace, NASCAR, and the noose incident. Earlier this week, a noose was found in a garage stall of Bubba Wallace at Talladega Superspeedway. Bubba Wallace is a lone black driver for NASCAR and has been outspoken about the Black Lives Matter movement, in support of the movement, and in the wake of the killing of George Floyd at the hands of police. NASCAR tweeted out a photo confirming that it was a noose. The FBI came in to do an investigation, and the FBI determined that there was no hate crime committed against Bubba Wallace, and the FBI deemed the noose as a pull-down rope used to pull down the garage door of the stall. The FBI also concluded that this alleged pull-down rope had been in the garage stall since October 2019. The noose was found by a NASCAR employee who alerted NASCAR about it, and Bubba Wallace came out and confirmed that, yeah, it was indeed a noose, as did NASCAR. This noose incident comes amid not only the George Floyd protests and the unrest going on with that, but also the fact that NASCAR banned all Confederate flags from its sport as well, and also the solidarity and support the sport as well as its drivers are showing to Bubba Wallace, again, NASCAR's lone black driver. The reason why this can't be minimized and downplayed is given the history of the noose in this country and even the recent incidents that we've seen in this country with nooses. It's been reported recently that 11 nooses have been found in 11 cities across the country over the past couple of months. There's also been 5 deaths as a result of hanging involving people of color, 4 of those being black. Now, while local investigators in these cases have tried to deem the hanging deaths as suicides, families of these victims, including 2 in California, where 2 men were found hanged in separate incidents, are calling for an independent autopsy and don't believe that it was suicide, that it could possibly have been foul play. But if we want to go back to what the noose represents to black people, the noose has been a symbol of hate and also a weapon of racism, oppression, and a tool used to murder black people. If you go back to slavery, Reconstruction, the Civil Rights era, the Jim Crow era, black people were historically and traditionally lynched by white mobs, by the KKK, based on the color of their skin, when it was okay to do so, when there were no repercussions levied against these white mobs or the KKK or other white individuals who performed these atrocities on black people during these times. It was commonplace for black people to be hung from trees while white spectators and mobs watched like it was some type of spectator sport. And there was no justice for the victims of these black families who faced these unspeakable crimes. And to have this happen now in 2020, given the unrest in the country as a result of the murder of George Floyd at the hands of police, to see this happening right now in modern times with the Bubba Wallace noose incident, and then the incidents of nooses found in 11 cities, and then the 5 people in 5 separate incidents, people of color killed or who died as a result of hangings, just speak to history repeating itself. Because again, when we have this movement going on right now with Black Lives Matter, and also with the unrest going on as a result of the police killings of black people at the hands of police, which essentially are like modern day lynchings, it just speaks to the problem this country has and how much work needs to be done and why there are protests going on in the first place. It'll also be interesting to see what happens going forward with Bubba Wallace and NASCAR in the aftermath of this noose incident. You even had some people on social media who tried to criticize Bubba Wallace, trying to compare him to Jussie Smollett, the disgraced actor who essentially lied about being a victim of a hate crime, where he said the noose was tied around his neck and he was attacked by 2 white supremacists in Chicago. But to compare Bubba Wallace to Jussie Smollett is reaching and is just flat out stupid, because Jussie Smollett did it to get attention. Bubba Wallace isn't seeking attention. Bubba Wallace made it to NASCAR on his own merit, on his own skill. And the fact that he's the lone black driver in a predominantly white sport that has traditionally supported the Confederate flag speaks volumes. But Bubba Wallace doesn't need any cachet, isn't clout chasing. The man made it his own, and the fact that this noose was found in his locker, his garage stall, just goes to show you that when you have a black driver, in this case with Bubba Wallace, infiltrating a predominantly white sport, you're gonna have some people out there using that noose, that symbol of hate, and this evil symbol to intimidate him and to suppress his thoughts and his abilities to perform at the highest level by bringing attention to issues affecting his community. So I want to hear from you guys out there. Do you think this noose incident with Bubba Wallace is the end? Or what happens now going forward? Will we see similar incidents to this? Or will we actually see some progress made in this country with NASCAR, Bubba Wallace, and the like? As always, I value your opinion. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. We'll do it next time, and I'm out.